at the end of the day, we all know like this whole industry was built on minorities and black people's back at the end of the day. We're all the ones in jail. And then what sucks is, okay, you go and you do your time. Now you come back home and you can't even get a good job, and you can't even come into the marijuana industry.
Hey guys, I'm Carri Twigg. We all know the world is messed up. Whether it's Trump's latest lie, mass incarceration, environmental destruction, or racist drug laws, there's a whole lot to be outraged about. It can all leave you feeling helpless, but you can make a difference, and I'm here to tell you how, issue by issue. I've worked in the Obama White House, on several political campaigns, full disclosure, all for Democrats, and in the nonprofit world, trying to get people like us to care more about politics. All to get elected officials to look at, understand, and work for people like us. I'm here today to talk about weed and why it matters in this year's midterm elections. 2018 is shaping up to be a banner year for marijuana legalization. This past summer, one of the most conservative states in the country, Oklahoma, decided to legalize medical marijuana. That's the 30th state to legalize medical marijuana in some form. But despite the fact that they've got lots of company, Oklahoma's decision is still a big deal because it proves just how popular medical marijuana is, even in a deeply red state. And it's not just the Sooners. Starting this fall, Canada will become one of the few countries to have legal sales of recreational weed. Domestically, 9 states and Washington, D.C. have some kind of legal recreational weed too. In fact, California runs the largest legal marijuana market in the world. So, what does legal weed have to do with the elections? They connect in 2 major ways. First, there are ballot measures. Essentially, a ballot measure is a potential law that gets put to a public vote, bypassing the state legislature. The people get to vote directly, yes or no. For example, this November, people in Michigan will decide on recreational marijuana legalization, and folks in Utah will choose whether or not to allow medical marijuana. Second, by electing governors, attorneys general, and state legislators who support favorable cannabis laws, your state is more likely to have better policy, even if weed hasn't been legalized yet. Elected officials who support legalization often also support reducing sentences for people convicted of drug-related crimes. Support for legalizing marijuana is on the upswing, gaining in poll after poll. According to Gallup, 64% of US adults want recreational legalization. Medical marijuana legalization is favored even more, polling as high as the 80s. But it's not as simple as just voting yes or no on a single ballot measure. It also matters how legalization laws are written. For instance, does the bill include language that changes how weed crimes are policed? What about people currently in jail for drug-related charges, or those who have past convictions? There are a whole lot of people affected by our current harsh laws around pot. According to the FBI, 650,000 people were arrested for marijuana violations in 2015, comprising almost half of all drug arrests in the United States. That's one person busted for weed every 50 seconds. And almost all of the arrests, 89%, were for simple possession, not selling. As if the lives ruined weren't reason enough to vote to change our drug laws, those laws are also costing you and me a ton of money. US states spend more than $3 billion enforcing marijuana prohibition every year. And those states are enforcing that prohibition in racist ways. Black and Latino communities are still arrested at wildly disproportionate rates for marijuana offenses, despite the fact that we are no more likely than white people to use or sell the drug. So when you vote on drug law changes, keep in mind that you can do a lot more than just making it safe to smoke in public. When California legalized recreational weed use through a ballot measure called Proposition 64, more than 6,000 incarcerated people became eligible to have their time behind bars shortened or even go free. Another 1 million folks who were convicted of marijuana-related misdemeanors and felonies became eligible to petition to have their records changed or cleared. That gives them wider access to jobs, housing, and other services that are currently out of reach. Read up on what ballot initiatives are happening in your state. If you think weed should be legal, start by finding out which elected officials support fair drug enforcement laws. And, as always, making change starts with registering to vote and actually voting. And join me next time when I'll be talking about Kanye West, privilege, and freedom of choice. For Complex News, I'm Carri Twigg.